What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Season 10, Episode 15, Till Death Do Us Part. Let's get into Clayton and Annalie. So it's a couple of days before their wedding, and this is the day that both of them are going to be celebrating their bachelor and bachelorette party. Now, as far as Clayton's bachelor party, it's just him, his best friend from San Diego, playing in the pool and playing video games. That's it. Now, Annalie, on the other hand, her future sister-in-law, Clayton's sister, is going to be coming to pick her up, and they're going to be having a real bachelorette celebration, bachelorette party celebration. Before Annalie leaves, though, Clayton tells her that under no circumstances is she allowed to have any strippers at her bachelorette party. So the sister-in-law comes, picks her up. First, her and the other ladies, they're having drinks. And then after that, they get on the party bus. And once everybody gets on the party bus, that's when the stripper shows up. I don't know where the sister-in-law found this stripper. I don't know if she found him on Groupon. I don't know if she found him on Temu. I don't know where this stripper came from, but this stripper was absolutely horrible. He only had one move, which was to flop his man parts, to flop it around in everybody's face, and it was absolutely cringy. It was disgusting. If you're a stripper and you're a stripper for women, you need to understand what women want and what women want to see. And trust me, sir, you flopping your thing around in everybody's face is not what women want to see. The women were literally like trying to get away from him. That's how bad it was. And like I said, he only had that one move. That's all he did was, to flop it up and down in someone's face, primarily Annalie. So I don't know why Annalie was taking pictures with this man. I don't know. It was just bad. It was bad. It was absolutely horrible. The sister-in-law should be ashamed of herself for bringing this guy to entertain them, because it was horrible. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So after all of that, they get back to, I don't know exactly where. I think it was a sister-in-law's. I don't know where they were at. Probably some Airbnb or something. So the sister-in-law and Annalie, they get a chance to have a conversation, just the two of them. And the sister-in-law asks Annalie, well, how are things living with mom? Because we all know that Clayton's mom lives with him and Annalie, and she sleeps in this, walk-in closet. So Annalie tells her sister-in-law that, she does prefer that her and Clayton get their own place. And she does need more privacy, because there's absolutely zero privacy when you're living with your mother-in-law who sleeps in the closet. So the sister-in-law tells her that Clayton and his mom have been living together for years, and they will continue to live together forevermore. This is just how it is, and it's never going to change. And Annalie is like, well, I'm not going to accept that. I'd get a divorce before I live in these type of conditions with my mother-in-law forever. So the sister-in-law was like, well, it's kind of crazy that you're talking about getting a divorce and you're not even married yet. Well, Annalie's like, I'm not going to put up with it. I'm just not going to do it. So she says that she's going to have a conversation with Clayton to try to convince him that they need to get their own place. Now, the sister-in-law tells us that Clayton had called her and told her that he does want to move away from his mom, and he wants to start living his own life separate and apart from his mother. But I guess he just doesn't know how. So I don't know if the mother has some type of physical ailment, or if she's sick in some way and needs care from Clayton. I don't know exactly why Clayton cannot live on his own and the mother live on her own. I don't know if she's financially dependent on her son, and so he feels this responsibility to take care of his mom. I have no idea what's going on. But what I do know is that I don't think Annalie was expecting this when she decided to move to the United States to marry and live with Clayton, because I know if Clayton would have told her before she left Peru, hey, my mom is going to be living with us full time, and this is just how it's going to be forever, I don't think Annalie would have come to the United States if she knew ahead of time that this was the plan. And I think it's just kind of unfair of Clayton to not tell her, to not give her the heads up on what's going to be going on once she arrived in America, because I don't think she anticipated this at all, unless I missed something, unless somewhere along the way there was an episode where she says she knew that the mother was going to be living living there and she was okay with it. But as far as I know, I don't think Annalie had any idea that her mother-in-law was going to be stuck with them. And now her future sister-in-law is telling her that Clayton and his mom have been together all of these years and it will always be like this. Clayton will talk a good game about wanting to live on his own and be independent, but it never happens. It's always been him and his mom living together. So Annalie, she's just not going to put it. Now, I feel like Annalie is going to use this as an excuse to probably break up with Clayton, because I don't think she's really feeling him like that. I'm still, like really on the fence on exactly how she feels about Clayton. I think that if it wasn't for the mother living with them full time, she would still go through with the wedding, because I think she does want to be here in America. But I don't think that it's worth living here in America if she has to live with her mother-in-law and she has to live with a man that I feel like she really doesn't love. So if she really truly loved Clayton, she would not let this deter her from getting married or from being in a relationship with him. But I don't think she really loves Clayton. So I think she's going to use this whole mother-in-law thing as an excuse to not be with him and to not marry him. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because I've been confused about Clayton and Annalise since day one, where it seems like, for like a minute or two, I'll feel like, oh, okay, I think she does really like him. But then the majority of the time when I'm watching them, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not feeling it. So she might use this to try to go back home to Peru. Moving on to Citra and Sam. So Citra goes wedding gown shopping with her two sisters, and she tells us that in Indonesia, the tradition is for the bride to go wedding dress shopping with her future husband, with her groom. And so she said it feels kind of odd to her to go wedding dress shopping with just her sisters and without Sam. So as she's trying on dresses, her sisters are asking her, are you sure you really want to get married? You really want to go through this? And what are you going to do if he ends up going to jail? Because we know that Sam is facing some legal problems with his diversion plan. His diversion is being threatened because he got caught with prescription drugs that were not prescribed to him, and because of his past drug issues, he can't be around that. He can't have that in his possession. And so he broke the terms of his diversion, and then he didn't turn in some paperwork. It's all one big confusing ball of mess as far as what exactly is going on with Sam and his legal problems. I guess he was caught with the prescription drugs that were not prescribed to him. They put him on a diversion plan. And when he was under diversion, he was supposed to submit some documents, which he didn't. And now his diversion is being threatened. I think that's what's going on. So he says he's facing possible jail time. So the sisters are like, well, what if he goes to jail? What are you going to do? And Citra tells us that she's sick and tired of people asking her if she really wants to marry Sam, if she's going to go through with the wedding, and what is she going to do if he ends up going to jail. She's tired of those questions. So she tells her sisters, I love him. I'm going to marry him. If he goes to jail, I'm going to stick by his side. I'm going to wait for him to come out. That's it. Point blank, period. Don't ask me no more. So after that, Sam takes Citra and her family to this farmhouse. I think this is where they're going to be getting married and where they're going to be staying until the wedding day. And so it's a really nice farmhouse. It's very spacious inside. Her father even says back in Indonesia, this is the kind of house that a rich family would live in. So speaking of Citra's father, Citra and her dad have an opportunity to have a private conversation, just the two of them alone. And so her father wants to get down to the nitty gritty. Her father is not feeling Sam. Her father is not feeling this whole marriage to Sam because her father is a police officer. And the fact that Sam is having all of these legal issues with prescription drugs and whatever else, the father is not happy and he does not want to see his daughter in this situation. So he's asking his daughter, are you sure this is what you really want to do? And Citra says yes. And the father is like, well, what if I told you that I don't want you to marry him and I want you to come back to Indonesia? And Citra tells her father, I wouldn't go. I'm going to stay right here and I'm going to marry him. This is what I want to do. And so if I understand exactly where the father is coming from. If Citra was my child, I would have the same concerns because I'm like, what kind of future is this? You're going to be living with him plus his brother plus his father in one small house. He has all of these legal problems. The father really doesn't know like, what is the extent of Sam's addiction to prescription medication? And I don't know if he's also into other types of narcotics. I don't know. Who the hell knows? So the father feels like there's a lot of unknown with this future with Sam, and he feels really uncomfortable, and he doesn't want this wedding to go through. But what do I always say? The heart wants what the heart wants, and Citra wants to be with Sam. She says that Sam has always stuck by her side, has always made her a priority. Even when he was broke and didn't have any money, he still made her a priority. And so she doesn't want to break up with him. She doesn't want to leave him. She's going to stick this through. She loves him. This is the man that she wants to be with. So what can you do? The only thing the father can do is just to, stand back and support her and be there when everything comes tumbling down. Sam is a nice guy. Okay. From what we've seen so far on the show, I don't know what goes on in real life, but from what we've seen so far on the show, Sam seems to be like a very nice guy. He's willing to convert his religion to Islam, even though I think he's just doing it for the sake of doing it. I don't think he's really like interested in the religion of Islam. I don't think the religion is calling to him. I don't think that, the Islamic religion is, speaking to his soul in any kind of way. I think he's only doing it because he wants to marry Citra, and her father will not allow her to get married until he converts. So that's kind of, it's kind of problematic that you are using the religion just to get to some girl, but whatever, it is what it is. He's a nice guy. There's nothing like abhorrently wrong with Sam, compared to some other people that we've seen. There's nothing wrong with him. I can tell that he really loves Citra. He really wants to be with her. But if I was Citra's father, I would have the same concerns, because I don't want my daughter getting into a situation where she's going to be left with strangers if he ends up going to jail, which I don't think he's going to go to jail. But if that does happen, she's going to be left with strangers. We don't know exactly how Sam, is this something that's going to be occurring again? Could he possibly get in trouble again? It's just a whole lot of unknowns with Sam. So I totally understand where the father's coming from, but there is absolutely nothing he can do, because she's a grown woman and this is what she wants to do with her life, and all he can do is support her. Moving on to Sophie and Rob. So Rob spent the first night away from Sophie, being very passive aggressive online. Up until 4 o'clock in the morning, he was online sending cryptic messages about Sophie and his relationship with Sophie. So the next morning, Sophie wakes up to all of these messages, not messages, but his postings on his social media. Very cryptic, passive aggressive. Everything is directed towards Sophie. So she goes wedding dress shopping with her mother, and every single gown that she put on looked great on her. She just has that kind of body where everything looks good on her. So every dress that she tried on looked really nice on her. I think the one that she ended up with was still really nice. So yeah, her choices were really good. So from there on, they go back to the hotel, and Sophie calls Rob, and she asks Rob to come pick her up from her mother's hotel, because now she's in a whole lot better mood after, looking at the wedding gown. She feels a lot better. So she calls him and she asks him, "Can you come pick me up from the hotel?" He was like, "Okay, fine, send me the address." If I was Rob, I would have been like, "Well, how you got there is how you coming back home." Because I think it was absolutely insane for her to leave with her mom. But they're so close to getting married. And Rob is a lot, okay? But so is she. So instead of her running away with her mom, she should have just stuck it through and try. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what these kids are doing. But anyway, he agrees to come pick her up. So while they're waiting for Rob to show up, her and her mom are having a conversation, and she decides that she wants to let her mom know that she's bisexual. So she tells her mom, "I've told you most of the problems that me and Rob are having, but I haven't told you everything. So recently I came out to Rob and told him that I was bisexual." So the mom is going to take this and try to use this as a ploy to prevent Sophie from marrying Rob, because we know that her mom cannot stand Rob. She has nothing nice to say about Rob. And the reason why Sophie is with her in this hotel is because she got into a really bad argument with Rob that caused both of them to leave and, to get away from him. So She tells her mom, I just told him recently that I'm bisexual. So we've also been arguing about that. So the mom doesn't care that she's bisexual. She's like, okay, fine, you're bisexual. That's wonderful. But how do you know that you really want to be with Rob now? Have you ever been with a girl? Which she hasn't. So the mother says, well, have you tried it? Maybe you need to try being in a full blown relationship with a woman to figure out whether or not to figure out exactly what you want, because you think you want Rob, but maybe you really don't. Maybe you're just really confused right now. And so Sophie tells her mom, I'm not confused. I don't want to be in a relationship with a woman. I've always known that when I got married, I was going to marry a man. So, which leads me to ask once again, so what is the point of being all dramatic and coming out as bisexual to all these people? Like, why are you doing that? If you know you want to stay with Rob, and you know that you're not going to want to explore with women while you're married to Rob, and you know that you were going to marry a man for sure, then why are we going through, do you feel the need to come out and say that you're bisexual? I don't understand. Like, if you would have kept that to yourself, what would have happened? If Rob never knew and your mom never knew, what would have happened? I don't understand. I don't get it. Because it's not like she wants to have Rob and a woman on the side. And so she has to let Rob know, hey, once we get married, because I have bisexual feelings, I'm going to also want to be with a woman, and I need you to allow me to do that. She says she doesn't want to do that. That is not in her plan at all, to be with a woman while she's with Rob. She doesn't even want to do a threesome. She doesn't want to do any of that. She just wants to stick with Rob. So why are you telling him that you're bisexual? I don't get it. Now that she's told her mom is really going to try to amp that up to try to convince her to not be with Rob, or to try to make her feel like being with Rob is a mistake and you're confused and you need to be with a woman to figure out what you really want. And if Rob happens to hear the mom trying to encourage Sophie to be with a woman, Rob is going to lose his mind. So I didn't understand the point of it. I mean, it's great that she has discovered this about herself and that she feels comfortable enough to tell Rob and to tell her mom about it. But what was the purpose? What are you trying to accomplish by revealing this if you're not going to act out on your bisexual feelings? Moving on to Ashley and Manuel. So they're getting ready for the Florida wedding in West Palm Beach. Ashley's best friend's husband will not be attending the wedding because her best friend's husband, who's also her best friend as well, does not like Manuel at all. And so he's not going to be attending the wedding. And this has really hurt Ashley's feelings, because her and her best friend's husband, I don't know what these people's names are. I think the best friend's husband name is Sully, because her and Sully have been really good friends. They've worked together, played together. Like, they have a very tight relationship. And so it's making Ashley feel some kind of way that he won't come to the wedding. When they get to Florida, Ashley's friends and family have planned this, pre-wedding celebration for Manuel and Ashley. So they're all having a really good time. After that, everybody goes on a party boat to celebrate, and everyone's having a really good time, drinking, dancing, eating. In the middle of this huge celebration, Manuel just comes to a screeching halt. He was having a good time. He was partying with everybody. All of a sudden, he got down in the dumps because he was thinking about his family, thinking about his kids, his mom. He's feeling extremely homesick. He wants his family to be there with them to celebrate this moment, etc., etc. So Ashley tries to be supportive. She's listening to him. She's comforting him. And she understands, him being homesick and wanting to be around his family. After that, they all go to a strip club. So they're at the strip club having a good time, and Ashley has a chance to talk to her best friend, who is, the wife of Sully. She goes outside to talk to her and tells her that she wants to reassure her that everything is good between her and Manuel. In fact, it's so good now that Manuel has allowed Ashley to talk to his son, because up until now, his sons don't even know that she exists. So he has introduced Ashley to one of his sons, and Ashley had a chance to talk to him. And it was a good conversation. I guess everything was going wonderful. So now Manuel is beginning to let her into his little inner circle. And so the friend is like, well, that's great. I'm so happy for you finally, because, you're going to be his wife. You need to have a relationship with his family. So it's a good thing that he's finally opening that up for you. And everything is all good. The only issue is, I guess her friend Sully is still not going to be coming to the wedding, but all that might change once Sully finds out that Manuel has whatever, has allowed Ashley to talk to his son. Y'all, I'm really struggling with this episode. I'm just like, when is this going to end? When is this season going to end? Moving on to Nikki and Igor. So it's the day of their engagement party. They're back in love again. Because the last time we saw them, they were fighting. They're back in love again. Everything is wonderful. They're being very affectionate with each other. They're very happy, looking forward to their engagement party. So Igor is going to be arriving first at the engagement party because Nikki wants to arrive much later to make this grand entrance. So before she leaves for her engagement party, one of her friends from New York calls her, Chantel. And they're talking about the fact that Chantel just found out through Nikki's mom that Igor had mentioned to Nikki that he wanted a threesome after they got married. So Chantel is like, girl, what is going on? Like, why does your man want to have a threesome? What is this? So the friend asks her, are you sure you want to marry this man and you want to move on with this wedding? Not the wedding. You want to move on with this relationship because they're not even at that point yet where they're about to get married because they still have 90 days or I don't know because he hasn't even come to America yet. So they still got to go through the whole process. I think his visa was approved. So it's just a matter of him coming to the United States. So the friend is like, do you still want to go through getting married to him? And Nikki was like, of course, absolutely I do. Because, he's my soulmate. He's my one and only. And she tells us that they were together 17 years ago or 15 years ago. And then, things didn't work out because he found out that she was a trans woman. And like 15 years later, they've reconnected. So she thinks it's meant to be. Not even considering the fact that maybe they've reconnected because he needs money from her or something, which is what I think is going on. But, who am I? So she finally arrives at her engagement party. She makes this grand entrance and she has on this, crystal encrusted gown and she looks really pretty. Her hair is flowing. The crystals are blinging and, she just feels really beautiful. So she walks in, everybody just gasps and like, ooh, and on. Oh my God, you look wonderful. You're beautiful. Even Igor was like really, really impressed. And, he comes up to her and kisses her and everything. And he tells her, oh my God, your crystals are, what did he say? No, he says, you're blinding me with your crystals. I thought he was going to say, you're blinding me with your beauty. But the crystals got in the way. So they're all sitting at the table having dinner and drinking and commiserating with one another and all of it because Nikki is a performer back in New York, right? She's some type of a stage performer. So this comes up in the course of the conversations at the table and the guests begin to pressure her to get up and perform. And at first she's really reluctant, because she hasn't practiced. She hasn't been on stage in a while. She hasn't done a sound check or whatever. So she's really hesitant, but they really put the pressure on her, right? They start like banging on the table, calling out her name. So she finally gives into the pressure. She grabs the microphone and she starts singing. And, she did okay. It is what it is. I mean, you can't expect much because she was completely caught off guard and wasn't prepared. But it is what it is. The guests loved it. Igor loved it. So that's really all that matters. And she can't wait to get married to her man. Am I at the end of this? Thank you, Jesus. That is it. That's the end. When is this going to end? Episode 15. Y'all, if this goes on to 20 episodes, I'm going to lose my mind. I am going to lose my damn mind if this goes all the way to 20 episodes. I don't have much to say. Annalee, you know what? Let's talk about Annalee real quick. Annalee and Clayton. Annalee, you should go. Not just because of the fact that your mother-in-law is living in the closet with y'all. Clayton just ain't it. Clayton is not it. Okay, he is a little boy trapped in a man's body. This is not the one for you, Annalee. You're going to be one of those wives married to a man who plays video games 24/7. This is not it. He's not the one for you. I don't think Clayton is ready to get married to anybody. If you really want if you're going to stay with him and you really want your mother-in-law to leave, just tell him. If your mom doesn't leave and get her own place, or if we don't get our own place, then you're not going to get the cookies in this jar ever again. Trust and believe he's going to find y'all's own place with a quickness. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.